Think about the last time you opened your fridge. Maybe it was late at night, when the house was quiet. Maybe you were not even hungry, just checking. The light turns on, cold air comes out, and you feel a small sense of safety. There is food. There is time. There is a plan for tomorrow. We rarely think of a fridge as something huge. It feels like a small box in the corner of life. But that small box is connected to a much bigger system. A system that runs under the surface, like pipes under a street. Trucks, warehouses, shipping containers, store cabinets, factory rooms, all keeping food cold again and again, so it stays fresh long enough to be sold, moved, and eaten. And once you notice that, a strange question appears. What if the cold in your kitchen is part of a new kind of frozen world we built ourselves? Not snow and ice on mountains, but machines that create cold on demand. It is easy to see this as a simple good thing. Cold means fresh. Fresh means healthy. Fresh means less waste. But life is rarely that simple. The first insight is the surface one. Refrigeration does not just cool food. It changes what food is, where it comes from, and who gets to sell it. When food can stay fresh for longer, distance stops being a hard limit. Suddenly a fruit that grows in one climate can show up far away, in a place where it would never grow. You taste summer in winter. You eat a tropical fruit in a rainy city. And it feels normal. It feels like progress. It feels like the world is smaller and more generous. But this also rewires our habits without asking permission. We start to expect strawberries in cold months. We start to expect fresh greens every day. We start to expect full shelves. And then we forget what used to be true. That seasons had a shape. That local foods had a rhythm. That some things were special because they were rare. Now, if a fruit cannot travel well in the cold chain, it becomes invisible to many of us. Not because it tastes bad, but because it does not fit the machine. So the cold chain does not only move food. It chooses food. It selects which fruits and vegetables become global stars, and which ones stay local, unknown, even if they are delicious. You can feel this in a very ordinary way when you walk through a supermarket. The shelves are full, but the variety is also strangely narrow. Many places sell the same handful of fruits all year. The same apples, the same bananas, the same grapes, the same avocados. It looks like choice, but it is also a kind of filter. And once you see the filter, you can ask, what else is missing that I never had a chance to miss? Now the second insight is the hidden assumption. We tend to assume that cold equals good. That more refrigeration equals a better food system. That if a country grows richer, it should build more cold storage, more refrigerated transport, more big distribution, because that is what modern means. And for some things, it truly helps. Cold can reduce spoilage between farms and markets. Cold can protect vaccines and medicine. Cold can prevent illness from unsafe food. These are real benefits. But the hidden assumption is that cold will fix waste in general, and that cold will create fairness. That if we build the same system everywhere, everyone will win the same way. Yet systems do not work like that. They have winners and losers, even when they look neutral. Refrigeration equipment costs money. It needs energy. It needs maintenance. It needs stable supply chains. That means large players often benefit first. Big farms and big firms can install machines, meet export rules, and move at scale. Small farmers often cannot. So a tool that looks like it supports everyone can also deepen a gap. You can imagine it in a simple picture. Two farmers grow fruit. One has access to cold storage and trucks. One does not. One can wait, choose the best market, ship far, and get a better price. The other must sell fast, locally, often at a lower price, because time is running. The fruit is breathing. It is aging. It is losing value each hour. So cold becomes a kind of power. Not evil power, but quiet power. And once cold becomes power, the food system starts to lean toward those who already have resources. Now think about another hidden assumption. We assume that if food lasts longer, we will waste less. This sounds logical, and sometimes it is true. But it is only part of the story. Because humans adjust. When food lasts longer, we buy more. We store more. We feel safe. We forget what we have. We push things to the back. We tell ourselves we will eat it later. Later becomes too late. And then the waste happens, not on the road, but in the home. Not in the field, but in the fridge. This is painfully familiar. A bag of greens that turns slimy. Leftovers that become a mystery container. Fruit that looks fine outside, but is soft inside. Refrigeration did not erase waste. It moved waste. It changed the location of the problem. It turned a supply chain loss into a household habit. That means the real issue is not only technology. It is behavior. It is culture. It is our relationship to abundance. Now the third insight is the structural pattern. Once a society builds a big system, the system shapes the future more than the original goal did. Refrigeration was built to solve specific needs. Keep some products safe and stable. Move food to cities. Make certain industries possible. But over time, the cold chain became a structure that organizes food itself. It compresses geography. It stretches shelf life. It creates standards for what counts as sellable. It creates the idea that freshness equals cold, even though freshness is not only cold. Freshness is time, yes, but also handling, humidity, light, bruising, and care. Some foods actually suffer in cold. Some lose flavor. Some lose texture. Some lose nutrients. Yet we still put them in the fridge because the system taught us one simple rule: keep it cold. And the structural pattern goes even further. The cold chain grows with wealth. When people get their first fridge, their life can improve. They can store food safely. They can cook less often. They can keep leftovers. They can reduce daily stress. That is real dignity. So more people want fridges, and it makes sense. But more fridges also mean more energy use. More cooling gases. More equipment production. More demand for constant electricity. So the artificial frozen world grows, while the natural frozen world shrinks. This is the deeper twist. The thing we use to protect freshness is part of what damages the natural cold places on Earth. You might not feel this when you open your fridge. You only feel it as a small cold breath. But if you zoom out, you see a new Arctic made of machines. And it is expanding. Now, the reframing is not to say, fridges are bad. That would be too simple. And it would miss the real point. The reframing is to treat refrigeration like we treat many other powerful tools. We do not only ask, can it do the job? We ask, when is it the right tool, and what else could reach the real goal? Because the real goal is not cold. The real goal is freshness. And freshness has many paths. Cold is one path. But it is not the only one. When you say it like that, a new kind of creativity becomes possible. You start to look at food the way you look at a living thing. You start to notice breath, time, moisture, skin, and stress. You start to ask, can we slow aging without cold? Can we protect food with a thin coating? Can we move food faster so it does not need to be cold for so long? Can we store some foods in warm humid spaces instead of dry cold ones? Can we shrink the fridge and redesign the kitchen? This is not fantasy. It is just a shift in thinking. It is a shift from one big solution to a mix of smaller solutions. And that mix matters, because the cold chain is not finished. Many parts of the world have not built a full system yet. That means choices are still open. The future is not locked. Now bring it back to daily life. Because big systems always come back to small scenes. The fridge is one of the most ordinary places where the modern world touches you. You open it without thinking. You close it and move on. But you can use this as a practice. A practice of noticing hidden costs and hidden stories. For example, when you buy produce, you can ask a gentle question. How far did this travel? What had to happen to keep it looking like this? Not as guilt, but as awareness. You can also practice a different kind of freshness at home. You can learn which foods prefer the counter, which prefer a cool dark drawer, which prefer humidity. You can store herbs like flowers in water. You can keep tomatoes out of the cold. You can plan meals around what will age first, not around what you crave in the moment. These are small acts, but they change the waste pattern. They reduce the feeling that the fridge is a magic box. And they give you back a sense of relationship with food. Another daily practice is to notice expectation. When you expect everything all year, you lose the feeling of season. If you let some foods be seasonal again, even a little, something changes. You start to feel time in what you eat. You start to appreciate the first appearance of a fruit. You start to enjoy waiting. Waiting is not popular in modern life, but waiting can make things taste better, not only in the mouth, but in the mind. Also, notice how refrigeration shapes what you think is normal. If you grew up with a full fridge, you may assume everyone did. But many people do not. Some live with unreliable power. Some live with shared fridges. Some live with no fridge at all. Their cooking, shopping, and eating patterns are different. So when we talk about building cold chains, we should hold two truths at once. Cold can protect dignity and health. Cold can also deepen inequality and emissions. This is what makes the topic hard. It is not a simple villain. It is a tool that changes everything around it. Now, the optional deepening is to sit with the emotional side of freshness. Because freshness is not only about taste. Freshness is a feeling. It is the feeling of having enough. The feeling that your home can care for you. The feeling that tomorrow is not dangerous. A fridge gives that feeling, and that is why we love it. But when a tool gives comfort, we can overuse it. We can build a whole world around comfort, and then pay a hidden cost. The cold chain is comfort at scale. It reduces fear of spoilage. It reduces fear of shortage. It gives people control. Yet control can become dependence. When people depend on a large system, they become less flexible when the system is stressed. If energy becomes expensive, if supply chains break, if climate disasters disrupt transport, a system built on constant cooling becomes fragile. So the future of food is also about resilience. It is about not putting all freshness into one basket or one box. It is about having many ways to keep food safe and good. Many ways to move it, store it, and share it. When you hold this in your mind, the fridge becomes a symbol. A symbol of modern power, modern comfort, and modern risk, all at once. And then you start to see the deeper invitation. We do not need to throw away refrigeration. We need to grow up in how we use it. Like we are learning to do with cars. We keep what helps. We improve what harms. We replace some uses with better ones. We redesign the system so it serves the goal, not the other way around. And maybe the best part is that the goal is something we already care about. We want food that tastes good. We want less waste. We want farmers to earn fairly. We want children to eat safely. We want the natural cold places on Earth to survive. These goals do not have to fight each other. But they will not align by accident. They will align only if we notice the hidden structure behind the simple act of opening a fridge. So the next time you stand in front of that cold light, what small change in how you think about freshness might quietly change what you choose to build, buy, and value?